From my perspective.
From my perspective.
From my perspective.
From my perspective. I think when we say we welcome all, we really mean it. But we all still have to keep working at listening to ourselves and seeing what we're saying about it. Oasis, we do not marginalize people. And that's really important.
I mean, we have people from all walks of life coming to the food cupboard. They don't marginalize each other either. I mean,
That's
they
true.
come,
No, they
they
don't.
come, they line up, and there might be a mentally challenged person or a obviously mentally ill person standing in the line, and it doesn't make a scrap of difference, and it doesn't matter your social status. It doesn't matter what color you are, or what your IQ is, whether you like dogs or not.
And some of them are quite wary and uncomfortable when they come. And by the time they leave, it's, oh, bye, and, bless you. And
We'll see you in a month.
yeah.
And really, even the poorest of the poor come here, and they don't take stuff if they don't need it. I think we get so much from them. We get so many thank yous, and if I could give you a hug, I would.
Bless you.
Yeah,
Time and time again.
yeah.
One of the things I found so amazing is the incredible welcomingness of the three of you women in particular in this food cupboard.
But we gradually get to know them. They become friends.
Sometimes you're out in the store or on the street and they call to you and hi so-and-so, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they do.
So it's
Yes,
actually
that's fun.
empowering of the people that come here, their experience here.
I feel very privileged, but I also feel guilty.
From my perspective.
From my point of view,
From my perspective,
From my perspective, the truly marginalized when it comes to mental health support are those who find it difficult or impossible to access those services due to cost or other barriers. Until counseling therapy becomes freely available to all, unfortunately, a large number of people will remain marginalized from a mental health perspective. When I moved to Penticton, I was drawn to Oasis United Church because it was an affirming congregation. I love that we're open and welcoming, we embrace all people, and we celebrate that diversity within our congregation and our community.
I enjoy being a member of Oasis United Church because it is such an inclusive group of people that welcome so many diverse folks, and that's been important to me. I remember when we went through the affirming process, I learned so much, and I think it made me feel freer to express who I am as well, just as a person who goes to church. And Oasis to me means that it is an oasis, which to me means that it welcomes all sorts of people, people who are marginalized, people who may have difficulties in life, and I think that's really important to me. I can't tell you what joy it brings me to have us be still active and actually growing and becoming more engaged in our community and working for social justice and environmental issues.
I'm very happy being a member, and I've been involved helping out with Sunday school. I'm really enjoying when the kids are there and welcoming everybody in the building.
when we think about marginalization, it has to do with making the circle very small and saying only certain people, only certain individuals, only certain species belong in that circle. And so marginalization says, I belong in this circle, but you don't. And whenever that happens, it has to do with the well-being of other people. In my own life, I've experienced marginalization as a woman. I've just been overwhelmed by ableism in other people who will go so far as to assume that our son, because there are differences in abilities, is stupid, which he is not, and talk over him as though he can't understand everything or anything at all. So marginalization is a justice issue because it means that it makes it difficult for certain people to survive, to experience well-being. And in terms of Oasis declaring that it is an affirming congregation, how wide is my circle? And that's what we're called to do in the face of marginalization, is to say, the circle will be wider.
From my perspective,
From my perspective,
From my perspective, Jesus worked so hard to eliminate marginalization, worked so hard to bring those people that were outside the circle in. And as followers of Jesus, that is our task, our heartful spiritual task as well. There's one experience I was thinking about around marginalization when my beautiful husband Simon was very ill and in care. There were wonderful, loving caregivers that surrounded him and surrounded me and other friends in that facility. And there were people that were on the edges. Residents that lived in that place who did not have family coming in to visit them for whatever reason. And there was an exclusion, a separation in some ways. That changed when a group of friends went in and together we made music. There was no outside of the circle then. Love just swirled, and it wasn't about us doing something so wonderful for someone else. It was about shared love. The energy, the spirit swirled. And there was nobody on the outside. From my perspective, we're called to do that kind of work every day.
the way I was raised, we were exposed to the idea of someone who is different than ourselves as just a different possibility of being. I was aware that there were certainly a wide spectrum of what was considered normal in terms of human giftedness intellectually. So consequently, when I grew older, I became aware of Jean Vanier and the L'Arche community, and I had a very good friend who worked in a mosaic tile workshop, a sheltered workshop for the L'Arche community, and she introduced me to that group in Ottawa. And really, before very long, in less than a year, I was living in an apartment with two women who were high functioning enough to be able to work in the public sector doing cleaning and food preparation. At a certain point a few years ago, I joined WW. They went from calling themselves Weight Watchers to calling themselves WW, which means Wellness Works. I loved going to that community because nobody was put down for the size they were, or if they had a bad week and ate a lot of things they weren't supposed to eat. Being part of an affirming congregation means we want to take away our blinders, our blinkers, and just be able to see in all directions and see people for who they are and make them feel welcome no matter how we engage with them.
The Oasis Affirming Ministry label matters. We are committed to creating a safe space for people to live their truths. We see strangers as friends we haven't gotten to know yet, and we open ourselves to their stories. By offering love and keeping our hearts open, we are all transformed. In my early 20s, 2 of my friends told me they were lesbians. In those days, they could have lost their jobs and their apartments. They were at risk because they loved women. It felt so wrong. Each day, as a person of faith, I see that my work in the world is to stay connected to the source of love as I bring love to those around me. Our love in action has the power to change lives and change the world.
From my perspective,
everyone needs support. I have grandchildren who are African American. They're growing up in Los Angeles. And I know that life can be a lot different depending on your skin color. We are very late to recognize the need for change in attitudes, embracing everyone no matter what color they are. I just recently read 21 Things About the Indian Act and participated in a discussion which was really eye-opening. And I can understand, I'm surprised actually that more of the indigenous population is not angry, and it's amazing how strong and how independent a lot of our First Nations groups are.
I left home at a young age and lived with marginalized communities for 2 years in the 70s. These communities, so different from my middle-class home, accepted me into their families and were good to me. Since Black Lives Matter came into mainstream about a year ago, I've been educating myself on marginalization. I've learned that white people have white privilege and are the power brokers of society, thus making us responsible to marginalized groups. Working with marginalized person as a person with white privilege, it means that I can be an ally. Ally work exposes white privilege, asks that we amplify marginalized voices in the mainstream society, and that we become political for marginalized causes. Another marginalized group that needs allyship are the LGBTQ.
When I think of myself, sexually, I want to be queer. Socially, I don't want to be. I think that's the really tough part. But when you cross that line, suddenly everything's different socially. So it's very, very difficult, even in this day and age, to be out, because it cuts you off. It's a very lonely journey. A very lonely journey. Having been out these last 10 years or more has been good. I think I've been able to join a community that is welcoming, understanding, and that's good. It's great. It really has. It is very relaxing. Like you don't have any feeling of being different. You're just part of a group. It's almost like being part of a SOS Pride group or something, where you don't have to make excuses or you don't have to explain yourself, and that's important.
From my perspective on marginalization, being a lesbian in today's society, I have experienced name calling, threats with coercion, and it was very demoralizing for me. And on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, I've also experienced great support and have been invited with enthusiasm from Oasis family and friends. As you know, Michelle and I got married there, and we were the first gay wedding as well. So we're pretty proud of that also. And with regards to Oasis's congregational designation of affirmation, it has put forth a sense of belonging with the special welcoming presence even more so. So it's been quite the experience all around for me as well.
Of marginalization, I guess mostly it's just, I guess, a little bit of internal homophobia, I guess. Just worried about what other people think, not being able to, to behave the way you want to behave. So I guess from my generation, it's, the old school of thinking, but I guess the younger ones now, I'm kind of envious of them because they have the courage to be able to hold hands and do things that everyone else can do. So I guess that's what I can say about marginalization.
Oasis United Church received a designation as an affirming congregation in the United Church of Canada some years ago. That occasion marked one step on a journey, not the end of a journey. We are not an affirmed congregation. We are an affirming congregation. We are moving. We are looking at ourselves. We are looking at the world around us. We are seeing how to open constantly. Some years ago, one of my lifelong problems came to a head, and I announced during a service that I did not hold any beliefs in a God. I am an atheist. I was pleasantly surprised after the service to have several congregation members tell me I was not alone. When I hear God talk at Oasis, I hear people sharing their truth. I do not hear people prescribing my truth. Oasis was also critical in my decision to transition from male to female. If I had not had a safe community such as Oasis, I would not have been able to take this step towards living my truth. Oasis is a place where people can find and live their truth. I'm very grateful for that.